Alright, so a friend of mine has been wanting me to do a video on Dr. Sebi and then report back to him on what I find. And I haven't been motivated to do a reading on him ever. This is one of the early requests that he had from me. And you know, I don't really know what's compelling me to do it. I don't know anything about... Okay, let me reword that. I don't know much about Dr. Sebi. When he passed away, there was a lot of talk about him and his passing, some conspiracies associated with it, but it's not something that I was interested in. I don't know anyone involved with the people that he knew, so it's not like I retained any of that information. But that's not to say that I didn't pick up on it, right? So it's somewhere in my subconscious about what actually happened, or like what people believe happened. I feel his energy so strongly today though, and I'm gonna get into that, but I'm just getting so distracted by, what I'm hearing is the essence of the mind. The essence of the mind, because the way that the smoke dissipated from these candles that I was taking away, it was still prominent. It was like creating figures, and it's still doing that, like right beside me, because I set it down beside me, and they normally have a clean smoke whenever they go away, whenever they're used and completely. And so what I'm hearing is it's this concept that he's putting across. I don't know if he smoked weed, because I have this book about marijuana, and I just keep being drawn to that. And what I'm hearing is like, basically what he's saying is like, when you tune into me, and this is a message to everyone, is like, when you attempt to tune into me, the essence of me and the essence of my beliefs or my teachings, or essentially the essence of my mind, I want you to be able to feel me wholly. I want you to be able to understand and grasp my concepts in a deeper, more spiritual way. And it means that you have to tune in to my frequency in a way that there's an issue he's pointing out of like the world's vibration, and how the vibration, like the earthly vibration, does not align with the frequency that he currently exists on, but the essence of who he is. So as he was identified as Dr. Sebi, is also the person, or the energy is not the same, but the remnants. Okay, back up, because he's telling me so much stuff. Okay, so he's telling me to tell you the story of even why I was even going to do this reading. So today's Wednesday, the 7th, so I'm going to post this later today. My friend was over here, and I broke a nail because we were play fighting for UFC. Go Nate Diaz. So anyway, so we were just play fighting, and I have a dog, and my dog's name is Sebastian, and sometimes I call him Sebi for short. And my friend said Sebi, and it made me think of Dr. Sebi in that moment, which again, I don't really know anything about him. We haven't talked about Dr. Sebi in a long time. And then my friend was like, when are you gonna do a reading on him? And like tell me, you know, what you see. And I didn't tell him. I was like, yeah, I don't know. I heard free will issue. It's a free will issue. It's a issue. It's not just a free will. It's like an endemic. There's an issue with free will going on in the world right now. And that was like the main message. I don't know if he was a dog person, because what I'm seeing is like him wanting me to tell that story. And then there's like a fondness around the dog. And my dog is like, I can do like a creamy white, but the way that he's showing me is like kind of like a Pomeranian, or I used to have, I forgot, they're circus dogs. They're usually circus dogs. They're little bouncy, fluffy white ones. I had him when I was a baby. Well, not a baby, but a young child named Gucci. And he was a big, fluffy doggy. So I don't know if he likes dogs or if he had a dog. Like, in particular, a white, fluffy dog. Or someone around him has a white dog. There's some connection there that has a fond imprint on his soul. So that's what brought me here today to do this reading. And he's also connecting me to my particular lifestyle from yesterday until today. So I had pizza yesterday, and then I had a little bit of pizza this morning, and I drank espresso. And my friend yesterday told me, this is the only thing he's told me about this, because when he asked me a long time ago, I'm like, just, if I'm ever gonna do it, then just don't tell me anything. So my friend was saying how Dr. Sebi says like caffeine's bad for you, or like to drink tea, not coffee, which I actually 100% agree. So I actually am going again. I'm using my free will to self-sabotage in a lot of ways, because these are things that I know. Pizza's not the healthiest thing for you. I can find pleasure in other foods that are more self-serving, like to my body. I actually don't even, like, I could kick my habit of drinking espresso anytime I want, I swear. But I just don't, you know. But that's what I'm being highlighted, is like, he's showing me that as an example. It's like, that's a small increment of where the free will issue resides, is that we're slowly, it depends, he's saying it depends on the person. It's like rapidly or slowly, individually, we are severing our energetic ties to a higher intelligence. And that is us using our free will against us, because we are aware of this. At our core nature, we are aware of this. And in areas where we have an overabundance of options and choices, or laws that we can enact and work towards or against to, like, provide us with better resources for food, you know, instead of these toxic things within our stores or whatever's allowed, like companies are allowed. And just like it's like a health crisis. What I'm hearing it as like a health energy crisis, as in he's tying it directly to your energy, like your energetic frequency, output and input, and how that collectively is excelling the downward spiral of energy input and output. So it's bringing the frequency down collectively at a very rapid pace. So individually it varies, but because there are more people involved in bringing their energy down because of their free will issues, that he's not connecting this to people. He's identifying people who have limited resources and limited choices as there's a counterbalance going on there because of how enriching other, like the way that they live or the way that they perceive is vastly different than people who are spoiled for choice, and how this can all be balanced too, because it's kind of like when you root yourself into who you are and to like using your choices to benefit your inner being, essentially, then you will just naturally gravitate towards trying to help other people have those choices as well. So it's like, help yourself and you will naturally want to help others because you are more in tune with spirit, and spirit will guide you or move you to do that, those things. And so it's rooted in that. And I see him getting absorbed into this panel of energies. So so this is a separate subject. So when he passed, he got reabsorbed into, it's not just reabsorbed because he leveled up somewhat, but I'm gonna say this very proudly and very self-assured with this, because I believe this is exactly what I'm seeing, this absorption back into these higher beings. So the way he would gravitate, like the way that I see the world sometimes when I'm doing these readings is it's so many different ways. So just to kind of like tie it down is like, there's like layers, what is it called? Like, you know, when you transparencies, like on top of the world. And so it's like layers and layers and layers. And there's like levels of how bound you are to the world, like kind of like earthbound. And so it's different ways and realities of and perceptions of why. And just okay, basically what I'm trying to say is he is already of a higher intelligence when he decided to incarnate here. And the reason he incarnated here, he's showing me specifically that obviously I was not a perfect person, but when you look at it in the greater scope of things, I was a person. That's what he's saying, is like I'm not a perfect being. I'm not God. Therefore, I'm going to have different layers of trials and tribulations in my life. And he showed me a blockage. It's like the person that he incarnated into, there's a familial blockage. So I don't know if this is his direct parents and like family, or if it's a lineage, so it's like grandparents, something like that, as Dr. Sebi, that are kind of against his beliefs or against his teachings, against who he was, or it kind of like cultivated some of the I don't want to say darker aspects of him, but just like the more human aspects of him, because it's not dark, it's just, it's what is it called, like you're a product of your environment. So those are those qualities of him. It's like I may have been in a heightened being, and he's showing me how he's repeating to me this concept that I witnessed in other readings. So he's repeating it to me as him being part of this collective group of higher beings that incarnate into the world. I guess you could call them light beings, but there's like different layers to that I see as well. But essentially they come here with direct information that can be healing for the world and specific groups of people, and how that kind of just expands outward. So it's like when you influence one, you influence many through that next individual that you influenced, and whether that's positive or negative, but his specific role is to positively influence. And so by his identity as Dr. Sebi, and how he incarnated and how he was and the things that he experienced and the way that he experienced them and presented himself to the world, those were all parts of why he was able to fulfill his role in this life as Dr. Sebi. So it's not like you can just kind of hold him to the standard of like focusing on his perceived negative qualities, but again, it's repeated back to me. It's not negative, it's a human quality. That's what you have to see, is the humanity in me. You know, that is also so extraordinary and so beautiful in its own right, that the human, like the ability of me, the ability that I was able to be like this, he's showing me just like this, what word are you saying? He's showing me like a movement, and it's not giving me the word, but it's like, you know, like diverse, like I'm a diverse person. And so you have to take me as a whole, like a whole, instead of little portions of me. And that is a way to expand your awareness, or expand like it's like a soul, like I see I don't know if it's a solar plexus, like in your heart, like I see this heart expansion, like just illuminating, like brightly illuminating. Is like once you realize that, once you see that, once you understand that, once you perceive that, once you connect all of what I have said and am saying together and apply it to your life, and again with and use your free will for positive, then you will expand your inner light, your inner being, to the point that it's like no one can step away from your light, because it's so bright. Once your heart light has shone on to them, and beyond that, there is no shadow that exists beyond that, because there is no way. You're too bright that it cannot cast a shadow. And that is the goal that I have brought to you and that I bring to you today. That is what I want. That is what I desire. That is what we need collectively as souls and spirits here on earth today. That is what we need. That is what we need to rise. He's saying something about like rising up. We need to rise up, rise up, rise up. Like he's like, now we need to rise up now. This is a deep-rooted issue, and it needs to be something about risen, like it needs to rise up now. We need to rise up now. And it's about this peace within you. It's like a very peaceful, it's almost like, it reminds me, it's like Gandhi or Martin Luther King Jr., like people who rise up against it's oppression within yourself, and it's oppression against a system that is working against you. And it's internal. It's an internal system. It has nothing to do with like race. It has nothing to do with gender. It has nothing to do with sexual identity. It's literally within you. It's in who you are, how you live your life, how you conduct your life, how you perceive life, how you perceive others, and how you can switch that around and switch that light by connecting yourself to this higher source, by not severing that connection with things that you know are working against you. It's like, you know when things are bad for you, and once you know, you should cut that out. You should take responsibility for that. And that's where you use that free will to work for you, and you don't allow these slowly manipulative sources to infiltrate your inner being and your inner light and your inner thoughts and choices. And from there, you will make strong, absolute choices for the betterment of everyone. It's not just yourself. It's like, once you, again, and he's just circling back, it's like, once you solve yourself, once you know yourself, you love yourself, you treat yourself with respect, and that's through how you, like, what you allow into you, then that is going to just, is going to change your world. It's going to change your life. It's going to change everything. And that's what I've been trying to get across. That's what I've been getting across. But it's a crisis. And he's saying it's dire. It's crisis now. And he's connecting me to my other readings that I've done. But then he's stopping and saying, no, no, no. It's like a separate subject. It's like those other readings, like, he's connecting me back to a reading a long time ago. Who was that? Who is that? Who are you? Who's that? Who is this? Okay. So I'm seeing, if you put them in layers, so I did an EZE reading, when you put them in layers, it's like, the reason why he's connecting me to this is because he's connecting me, he's showing me like, okay, so he's showing me the world, and how, if I talked about it, it's not just EZE, I talked about it in other readings past EZE, but it always connects back to this, is there's like this layer of like protective forces I see that are working directly with people. Like, they're more earthbound by choice, or by choice and by journey, to try and uplift humanity because of this battle that we are currently engaging in a spiritual manner. And so it's this way of them trying to it's like suspend this protective barrier that kind of, it's like soldiers, like you have to penetrate that line of soldiers before you can get to the unawakened humanity type of thing, like the souls that are here for various reasons and anyway, so that's what I'm saying. So he's pointing me here as like a frame of reference, I believe, for him, and also a frame of reference for connecting me with all the other videos that I've had, where EZE is this layer of soldiers, and I was gonna say, why was I gonna say Nipsey Hussle? I assume they're associated. Maybe that's how they knew each other, or is that how they knew each other? How do they know each other? They work together, I assume. I think I know this from like picking up this information from like when he passed, right? So the way he's showing me is like Nipsey Hussle somehow is in some sort of in-between state. He like that. Like he goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. There's like a specific role for him. And I'm saying it as their names, as who we, like a frame of reference, right? But we're beyond just this identity. So it's not like, oh, that's what he's doing now. It's like, that's his deeper core journey, or want to say battle, but it's not really a battle. It's the purpose, you know. It's like when someone identifies you as whatever your job is, it's like, I'm more than just my job, or like how you know me at work. I'm like bigger aspect of this. Anyway, but it's, so they're I get, not allegedly, but I mean, that's how, what I'm seeing is like, there are people that go in between. It's like he goes beyond this barrier and on both sides, so like closer to the earth, outside of this panel of soldiers, essentially. And it's like a transfer of information. It's like a carrier of information. It's not just information, it's like energy. It's like, he would be like, I don't know, he would be like a postal service or something of energy. It's like, I'm gathering information I'm hearing, and I'm also gathering like higher knowledge or higher energy, and then I'm bringing it down here. So maybe people who are inspired by Nipsey or his, it's something like that. Or even if it's not directly through his identity, it's like picking up on things that are somehow influenced by his energy as a crossed away person, not as his identity as Nipsey, you know, as like multi-purpose. And then the way that I see Dr. Sebi is somewhere up here. There's like this, it's like a council of people, a council of light, council of elder, council of being, like council of knowledge, council of, he's saying like there's like, he's like, there's different ones, all of those, yeah, there's like, those are like, yeah, all of those, that's what he's saying. Like I'm up there. I don't see which one or how it, or if they're all one, but it's like, yeah, I'm up there. So it's like this, like at the board of directives or something, like, or executives. It's like he's part of this up here. And, you know, like sometimes they're chosen, they choose themselves. Like he was chosen. It's like, I was chosen. It's kind of like a vote, like they kind of voted, and it's like, he's showing me in the span of like how it would look in world terms is like hundreds, like hundreds or thousands of years, like something like a very long time. That's how it, but time's different on the other side. Like it's different than here. It pretty much doesn't exist, I guess. It's like everything's simultaneous, but if we were to perceive it that way, it would be like that. He came down and gave us this information, this divine information. He's saying like, you don't even have to look at it as the perspective of the things that I said necessarily, like exactly like my teachings. Like, yes, that could be a good, like you don't have to take it, I don't know, let me paraphrase, is like, you don't have to take it like a Bible, like specific, and even, well, that shouldn't even be the right one, because it's not, even that is not like directly through text. Like it's more, you can take it interpretively, like you can use that as a guideline. It's basically what I'm saying, is like you can use that as a guideline of teachings. Like you can intuit and understand where I'm coming from with that. Get what I'm saying? And he's connecting. The reason why he was like, no about the other stuff is because I've done the like collective readings, or like the like world events and stuff that's coming up, and he's showing like that's totally separate. That's conducted by evil, right? And that's like event. That's what he's showing me this, because I've actually been kind of confused about those. Like I can see how they're correlating, and how they kind of like work together, right? How he's explaining it, but he's showing me now specifically that the works of evil have been specific events and how they are coming together to work in unity, right? And how he's showing, I mean, he's going back to the free will issue, and it's like actually giving me chills. I'm seeing the color green, like all kinds of different color green, like all the shades of green, all the shades of green, light green, dark green, just a lot of green. And he's saying how that coincides. He's saying like the reason why you're picking that up from what I'm saying is because that coincides with the dire free will issue. Like we have to protect our vessel, like not just protect it, but we have to in some ways serve our vessel, and by doing that then we are serving God, like we're serving the higher power, because we're able to connect. And you'll be able to, he's saying like people will be able to identify this on their own too. They'll be able to see it, you know. But when you're in the mix of things, or if your information is blurred because of whatever you're ingesting or you're doing or whatever is going on with you, like whatever frequency you're absorbing, and you're matching that, then you're not going to be able to see it as clearly. It's like, yeah, you might be able to see it, but that doesn't mean that you're doing anything about it. And so then you're in some ways culpable too. Don't dim to fit in. How are you dimming your light in order to fit in? How are you ignoring this information is what I'm hearing. It's like how, this is a message to everyone, as he's saying, is like, how are you ignoring your inner light? How are you ignoring taking care of what you feel you should be taking care of? And this doesn't even have to do with ingesting things. This can also just be how like food or drugs or alcohol or whatever kind of thing. What about the lifestyle that you're ingesting? Where are you ignoring those, it's like those facts? Where are you ignoring those facts? Where are you turning it into? And he's bringing me back to Gandhi. And he's bringing me back to Martin Luther King Jr. specifically because he feels, it's not that he feels, he is, the way he's identifying, so he's saying, I am on par with them in the sense that there's this inner healing in me. Like there's an inner healing that I was trying to get across, and I may have done things in a different manner than them, but that doesn't mean just because the way that we have been in this life, he's showing like they're not perfect either. He's like showing, it's like if you knew the stories, or if you knew their truths, or like every piece of them, you would see that they weren't perfect either. The humanity in them as well is witnessed. But what it is he's saying like standing up for yourself and standing up for other people. And it's this collective agreement to be better be better. Is saying like we have to become better. We have to be better. It's like very peaceful. It's very, very peaceful. And the age of light, you've been training for this for lifetimes. And he's just pointing again that that's the free will issue, is like we are more than just this identity of who we incarnated here as. And we incarnated into the body that we are in currently for a specific reason. And everyone has different reasons. Everyone has different abilities. Everyone has different trials they have to go through for varying different reasons. Yet, not only is your soul, like, it's like the he's showing me like the quality of everyone on the soul level, you know, and how we are all from the same source. We have all been created at the same time. And from there, he's just bringing me back to like things that I've already said in my other readings, where it's like the beginning of time. And the fact that you're here now, the fact that we're here now, finding out, it's like you don't even have to know the deeper meaning. You don't have to know the deeper of why necessarily. You just have to know that that's the truth. You just have to accept you for you. And the best way to do that is it's like curing you. You have to cure yourself. You have to protect yourself. You have to honor yourself. You have to respect and trust and build yourself up. It's a full renovation of your inner being so that you can, again, it's this expression of love that he's really focusing on, this expression of like togetherness. Like everyone has to do this together. Everyone. And again, back to like it's your choice. It's your choice of how connected to source that you want to be, you know. And are you making things more difficult for yourself? He's just showing me like it's giving me this story in my head of like, it's not, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like basically he's saying, you know, when you pass from this world and you look at yourself, you're going to look at yourself in the most authentic, nearly godlike way. You know, eternal compassion, eternal understanding, but you're going to be judging yourself. And it's through those judgments that you receive your karma, because the soul in its most pure essence is going to decide what things could have been done, help, or dealt with in a better way. This includes the way that you treat yourself and how you, it's not a punishment. It's like what life, whether it's here on earth or a lower earth, like be, you know, lower than this or higher, where, what can my soul best learn these lessons? And you also realizing how much of what you are doing is within your free will. It's like there's a lot of excuses that people can make where they don't take responsibility for themselves. They're refusing to improve. They're refusing to self-reflect. They're refusing to do what they know is the right thing to do because it's difficult, it's challenging, it's, you know, intimidating learning curve or some different reasons for everyone. But that's your free will. And you have to know that you're stronger than these temporary obstacles. And do you want to go to the end of your life and you reflect back on everything and say, oh, you know, I didn't do this because it's just like silly. He's just showing me like super silly examples. It's like he's showing me the example of me of like, imagine if I ate like that every day, which I don't, but he's like showing me that example of like, imagine you did every day and then you have a shortened life and you are depressed or whatever because you're not sustaining your mental health because of your physical health, and you say, oh, well, you know, I wanted to have that temporary fix from pizza and espresso every day, every moment of my life, that I didn't do these more enriching things that I've been training for lifetimes. Like I didn't help people in the way that my soul's journey was supposed to be. You know, I didn't do it as effectively as I was supposed to, that I was destined to do, kind of thing. Or he's showing me this other example of like being ashamed of yourself. It's like being not necessarily, kind of like shy, but not necessarily. But it's like he's showing me an artist, like a rapper or someone, and or a singer, country artist, and he's like, you know, you see these artists of like people who have vast potential in something, and yet they're afraid of the criticism that they're going to receive for being who they deeply desire to be. They're dimming in. And the end of your life being like, oh, you know, I didn't work on my music because I was afraid that someone on Twitter would dislike me or give me a thumbs down. You can't do thumbs down on there, but Instagram, they give you a thumbs down. Wait, can you do it on there? Anyway, wherever you can, YouTube. That's a better example. And someone gave me a thumbs down on YouTube. Something like that. And he's giving another example of like, I just didn't follow my truth. I didn't follow my inner light. I didn't do the things that I felt guided to because I was afraid of criticism and even inner criticism. It's like, why would you do that to yourself? Why would you do that? You have to be bold. You have to be assertive. You have to be loving. You have to be compassionate. You have to be patient. And that starts with yourself. You have to defend yourself. You have to defend yourself from negativity. And he's showing me like neutralizing it. That's the main thing. It's like you have to ascend with the things that you consume. Everything. For the he's showing me like a percentage. It's like at least start with like 80% or 75% or whatever. Like work, you can aim for perfection, but work towards well over 60% of high vibrational consumption of everything. And identify things and be realistic about things that are low vibrational. And that's your starting point. That's your starting goal. And from there, you have to neutralize hatred. You have to neutralize impatience. You have to neutralize evil in the sense that you don't match that with that type of energy. You disengage. You disengage and you eliminate that from your energy field. And you focus your energy and your intention on things that are high vibrational and energizing. And that's going to keep you on track with what your life purpose is. And that's the main thing that we have to do. don't understand this message. I don't understand. I'm not sure I understand. So I'm getting a different message. We're basically, what I was saying with the percentage, he's saying I have to be really, really careful with saying that, because that's not applicable to everyone. Like, it's applicable to a very small group of people. Like, very small group of people. Like, basically none. Like 5% of the human population type of thing. That's what he's saying. I'm gonna ask for his numbers. Can you give me some numbers? 1325. I would look up angel number 1325 and look up several different ones, like whatever that means. Because people on, they'll say different things. Different websites will say different things, and then try and discern between that. 1325, 224, 93, 224, and the 224 and 93. Okay, let me write that down. 224. Because what I'm seeing here is this, that basically I need to specify that, and I'm gonna say, like, if you're watching this, just don't even, that would be for people who's not watching this. Let's just say that, because it's a very dangerous thing to say, basically, because you have to walk this path. Like, you have to walk your light. You have to dedicate yourself 100% to this. I know there's like a balance to it, and it's going to feel uncomfortable, and it's not about holding yourself to unrealistic standards. It's holding yourself accountable, and it's holding yourself to standards that that are attainable. Don't perceive things as unattainable. That's the dangerous aspect of it, is if you are just kind of blatantly, giving yourself that 20% or whatever percentage towards negativity, saying that that's okay. It's never okay. There's no place for that. That's just negative habits. That's negative learning. That's negative, that there's no place for that. And you can make it's like, it's making your home sacred. It's not just your inner home, it's like your privacy of your life, like your bubble, your inner bubble, a place of this sacred light that you can refute and you can refuse negativity. You can neutralize that in every aspect. You have to try, you have to do that. You should not allow yourself that temptation of evil, or that temptation of, like, he's showing like the deadly sins, and like, I don't know if it's sloth is the one specifically, but he's showing me like laziness, like the word I'm getting is sloth, and then I'm seeing just like a lazy person, like someone who's just refusing and not engaging in something. So it's like, it's not to say, he's basically saying like, it's not to say that you are giving an allowance to yourself to act up. It's not that. It's to not punish yourself unruly or like unnecessarily for things that the human aspects of yourself, the things that you perceive as like trials of learning. But you shouldn't give yourself that leeway. Like, you get what I'm saying? I'm just kind of repeating myself. What exactly do you mean by that, though? And he's saying, like, you have to raise your vibration, pillar of light. You are the oracle. You have to do that. That you are the source of this inner knowledge, inner light, inner being. So I think what I'm saying was a misunderstanding. Yeah, that was a misunderstanding, what I was saying here. Thank goodness I took time. Okay, that percentage, that's not what he was saying. That is not what he was saying. He's saying that there's a small percentage of, he's saying, I can say this, of pure evil that exists in this world. That needs to be dissolved. And it can collectively be added up in people. So it's like you can have a 0.003% of that existing in you when you allow it to. And there are pure evil entities that exist in this world currently. And so that's he's relating that there's more heavenly source, heavenly beings, heavenly souls here, warriors of this earth, and not just warriors of this earth, but warriors of the ethers, of beyond. And that's where he's even connecting these, like the people that I've mentioned, and where he exists on this too. And so, and how there are people like that are incarnated here now. You could very well be someone as well, someone who's watching. And that essentially, like, you have to wholly trust your path, like completely, absolute trust your path and trust yourself, and not hold yourself to the standard of perfection, because we're all people who make mistakes and have conditions that have molded us to who we are beyond just our life lessons. And when we aim for when I say perfection, I mean that inner light perfection. That you have to aim for God's source. You have to aim to be kind, loving, compassionate, never engaging in basically violence, because those two people, Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr., they didn't engage in violent acts. And that's violence towards others and yourself. And also identifying that they weren't perfect people, but when they followed their path and they trusted themselves and they became leaders and authority, they changed the world. They changed the world. They changed so much. And that this darkness that I picked up on, and I misinterpreted that message, and I said that you should aim for whatever percent. Oh, someone's here. You get what I'm saying? I'm going to end it there. And this is the last message. How can you mother yourself? Mother Mary. Bye.